Out. He's getting tired. There you go. Yeah. Make sure you hold him up.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike, the old fish hobo, and it's mid-October. It's cold in the mornings, warm in the afternoons, and I'm on the North Fork of the Payette River along one of the busiest highways, if not the busiest highways, two-lane highways in Idaho, and I'm nymph fishing. And we all nymph fish at some point, unless you're a dry fly purist, but nymphing is something that we do in tailwater rivers a lot when there's no trout on the surface. And what fly do we use? Typically, or what nymph do we use? Typically when we get here, what are you going to use? I don't know. What are you going to use? I don't know. Well, you don't want to use what the other's using, and you open your box and you see a bunch of nymphs in there, and you go, well, let me try this one, or let me try that one. And there's a lot of great classic nymphs out there. You can choose from your box, hare's ears, pheasant tails. You can use prince nymphs and caddis larva or whatever. And then we have the more modern tractor type nymphs, the paragon from Euro nymphing. There's the copper john, a San Juan worm, and we'll just try those. And those are great nymphs, and certainly they catch a lot of fish and have over the years, and will continue to. But there is another approach you can take to choosing that right fly. And we're really talking about now is the opening strategy of nymph fishing a river. So there's some cerebral thinking that has to go into this from your perspective and my perspective. So I want to know what kind of aquatic insects are in that river. Trout, 98% what a trout eats during the season are aquatic insects. And what we try to do is we try to imitate these aquatic insects in their adult form and in their larval or nymphal form. So I want to know what it is these bugs are doing in that river. What I mean by doing is every day, right now, on most rivers, every day, from now all the way into December and maybe into January, there's going to be a blue winged olive mayfly hatch. Depending on the river, it can be early afternoon, late afternoon, but it's consistently there day after day, week after week. So that tells me that we have blue winged olives on the move. And what that means to the trout is they get used to seeing those emerging nymphs coming down the river. Second thing I know is in the afternoon, there is a late afternoon, evening, there is a caddis hatch. And these are consistent hatches, and up to 90% of what a trout eats during the season are these two bugs in some form. So typically, if I get to a river, I want to put at least two of these on. And I generally choose nymphs that really look like the real caddis larva or the real nymph as best we can with fur and feathers, because that's what the trout are used to seeing. So a trout may not be hungry and will not eat anything, but you may trigger that trout into eating something it's seeing quite often and recognizing as food. Another big thing, certainly when we start and the strategies that we start out with, does this river have stoneflies in it? This river right here is heavy in stoneflies. South Fork Boise River is heavy in stoneflies. And what that means to me is this. Stoneflies, a lot of stoneflies, if not most of them, have a hard time swimming. Some can't swim at all. So they have a tendency to tumble down the river. It doesn't take much for a stonefly to lose its grip and tumble down the river. And even though trout have little or no cognitive thought, they do have the ability to learn. And a stonefly is something that I want to go to in my opening strategy. In this river right here, I've taken 6 fish, all on the stonefly, even though there's blue winged olives flying around and such. The reason is because these fish are conditioned to those bugs coming down the river. So keep that in mind, and you can find out what's in a river by simply Googling hatch charts for different rivers, and they're going to tell you every single bug in that river and the times of year that bug's moving on the surface. So a good strategy for you when you first start on a river and not know anything about the river at all is a caddis larva and a mayfly. This year, right now, I'm going to be fishing with a size 18 blue winged olive nymph because that's what's in the water. And I'm fishing with a caddis larva because I know both those have a hatch during the day. But I'm on a river where there's stoneflies. So my opening strategy will be a stonefly imitation, a rubber leg, or anything like that. And my second nymph will be either a caddis larva or a blue winged olive. Between the two, between the mayfly nymph and the caddis larva, I'm probably going to go with the caddis larva. And that would be my opening strategy. So choosing the right nymph is critical when you get there. Now that's an opening strategy. That's thinking. That's putting some common sense and logic into your choice. And that is an opening strategy. You can always change that on the river. Now if things slow down, okay, it's time for me to rethink all over again. And that's what it takes to really become a really good nymph fisher. Is making those choices of the nymph I'm using, making those choices of the nymph changes I'm making based on what's happening on that river, based on what other people have told you. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you on the river.